if you saw my live reaction last night to that game, oh my God. You could not have played any worse. And meanwhile, were there other things that went on before last night? Of course, we're going to talk about those. But this game last night was just too far important not to lead off with, because you had a 5-game homestand where you went 2-3, where you should have done more. And if you can see in that final Orioles game, I got a stick figure puking, because that's what the Red Sox did. They gagged all over themselves last night.
You choked. It was yours for the taking, and you choked. You were ready, and you choked.
I was so disgusted that we got swept by the Orioles. Yes, it's a 2-game series. I don't care. It's still technically a sweep. So we got swept. Last night, we went 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. The final 4-inning breakdown is hilarious, by the way. In the 8th inning, bases loaded, no outs. We got a 3, 4, and 5 hitter up to the bat. Duran, Story, and Yoshida. What happens? 3 consecutive strikeouts on 3 pitches, 4 pitches, and 5 pitches. You need to do better than 12 straight pitches. Or not 12 straight, 12 pitches. To, I don't know, force the guy to throw you an effing strike. Don't give it to him. And don't swing out your ass, which is what I'll bring up in a little bit. But in the 9th, we get on, man on first, and Nathaniel Lowe, who Craig Breslow lucked out in signing Nathaniel Lowe. He's 30 years old. Yes, he's batting .216 this season prior to his arrival here in Boston. And he has 68 RBIs. It's a down year for him, considering that he's batted .263 for his entire career. But he's a legit first baseman. He won the Gold Glove in 23. He won the Silver Slugger at first base in 22. Nathaniel Lowe is legit. He's played a majority of his career at first base. And so the fact that Breslow claimed him off waivers, got him, and then worked out a minor contract, I mean, this should have been done at the trade deadline. Clearly, the Nationals didn't want him because they let him walk basically for nothing. Yeah, they didn't DFA him, but they let him walk. And so we swooped in and got him. Thank God. But with that, again, I'm looking at you, Breslow. I don't know how many times I can say this, is the fact that, you know, he got lucky because Washington could have kept him on his roster and we would still be sitting here without a legit first baseman. But luckily we got one. And the funny part is, in his, you know, he did play last night. He pinched hit the night before because he just got to Boston, the whole 9. So in his first real day in Boston, he's in the lineup, but as DH. What? Why? You finally have the legit first baseman that was one of your major needs, and you DH him in his first day, basically? I know he played the night before, but still. His first day, you DH him? What are you, stupid? And you put Abraham Toro, who found a way to F this game up, him at first base? I mean, come on. What, who the hell is running this team? Honestly, who is it? Is it the Nerds? Or is it Alex Cora? Breslow and the Nerds? or Alex Cora. Because that was just an absolute joke. And so Nathaniel Lowe, who, thank God he was on this team, regardless of where he, played in the field, came up and hit a 2-run homer to tie the game at 3 apiece. It was just like, oh my God, let's go. Thank you. The whole place erupted. It just went through 2 back-to-back days of bad losses to the Marlins and the O's in game 1. And now we have life. Fenway Park is alive, baby. We're going crazy. We're getting this team the victory tonight. And it's all going to be because Nathaniel Lowe tied it up in the 9th. And then, oh, that's right, back-to-back strikeouts after that. It's like, oh, God. So now we're down to 2 outs. And all of a sudden, the closer for Baltimore just absolutely turtled. He walked 3 straight batters, loaded the bases with 2 outs. He wanted to end that game. He was dying for a hit or to walk the guy, just to be like, oh, I can't be here. I got to get out of here. I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. But all of a sudden, what happens? Trevor Story has another 4-pitch at bat. Again, our number 4 hitter has another 4-pitch at bat that ended on a force out to second base. Like, just dagger in the heart. I couldn't have gotten any more elated than I did on the Nathaniel Lowe home run, only to then just be at the lowest of lows when it was so perfect. So perfect for a walk-off in the bottom of the 9th, and Story just pissed all over it. Then in the 10th, now we got a ghost runner on. We shut out the O's in the top of the 10th, which is like, all right, let's go. See, look at this. Only to then have a hit by pitch. Cedar Rafael get hit by the pitch. A fielder's choice to second. Lowe walked. So now we got a man on first and third with 1 out. And then we loaded the bases off Lowe's walk. Abraham Toro, the guy that has been hitless all game. What does he do? He grounds into a simple double play to end the inning. And it's just like, oh my God, you got 1 out. You had 1 job, dude. 1 job. And you did the worst thing you could do is hitting the double play. Like, you're killing me, Smalls. And again, as I mentioned earlier, why was Toro even in the game? Lowe should have been at first base. And then he got a bunch of other guys who could have filled in a DH. Let's be honest here. Now in the 11th, top of the 11th, man on third, 1 out. Guy hits a knuckler, out in front of home plate. Whitlock comes off the mound to field, but no. Connor Wong, who we got from the Mookie Betts deal. Remember that? Remember how good Connor Wong used to be? No, I don't. He was never good. At least never that good. But he leaves his position knowing that a man is on third, and he fields the ball, gets the second out at first base, and the runner, it's almost like had Whitlock come off the mound and Connor Wong played his position, the guy on third was still going home. He should have stayed home. Whitlock should have came, flipped him the ball, and had it been a tag situation. Like, it was so basic. And it cost the Red Sox a run. It did. And with that, now the Sox get up in the bottom of the 11th. Wong, to his credit, actually is the first Red Sox to lay down a bunt, I think, all season. It's a hyperbole, I know, but still. Lays down a bunt. advances the perfect bunt, advances the runner from second to third. He's out at first. Okay, we got one out. And then this is when all hell broke loose. You have Nick Eaton, who's on third base. Here's a kid who is fast. According to the stats, he is 97th percentile or 95th percentile in speed. The dude is fast. And Roman Anthony's up to play. He hits a ball 265 feet. Now, I saw a bunch of people on X being like, see, he only hit the ball, it was a shallow fly ball to center field. It was not shallow. The ball did not barely escape the infield. It was the perfect distance between the warning track and the infield. Perfect distance, like split it right down the middle. Now, the guy throwing the ball, Colton Cowser, he has a 95 percentile arm strength, otherwise known as impact arm, which I'll let you hear Alex Cora's discussion on that in just a minute. But you have a guy who is extremely fast versus a guy who has a strong arm. Nick Eaton takes 2 steps off the bag and plants his right foot to turn right around, and the ball just sailed into the bleachers. Just sailed. It was gone. It was long gone. Nick Eaton could have done the worm. He could have done the worm all the way down to home plate and scored. Like, that's how far he was so offline with that throw. I think all of Red Sox Nation lost it because, and I actually, not all, most, because, of course, Alex Bregman, our best hitter, pops out to the shortstop to end the game. And it was the most disheartening event I think I've ever seen as a Red Sox fan. Like, I don't understand how you have a perfect tag situation. Yes, the ball is somewhat deep, but it's deep enough where you got to test this guy. You got to. Why? Because I don't care how strong of an arm he has. Colton Cowser knows exactly how fast Nick Eaton is. He knows that Nick Eaton is a speed guy. And with that, he also understands that, damn, I have to speed up. I have to, really catch, transition, cock, throw, and make sure that it is on a beeline to home plate. You don't think that's going to screw him up? You don't think that he's not going to sit there and be like, and just be Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collective? No, of course not. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's, again, this isn't Pablo Sandoval on third base tagging from third to home. If it was, my God, he could have taken all freaking day. Here's the catch, la-di-da-di-da. I'm going to have a little sip of water, and then I'll just casually throw it home. It's going to be right on line. And Pablo Sandoval, by that point, is only going to be 3/4 down the line. Like, otherwise, Nick Eaton is making the guy's head turn a hell of a lot faster. He knows he's got to do a lot more in a shorter amount of time than ever before. It's like Ichiro hitting a ball down the third baseman, and the third baseman understanding that Ichiro is effing fast, and that transition has to be so smooth, so quick, cock and throw, all in just an exorbitant amount of time. Otherwise, Ichiro's safe at first. That's where this comes into play. That's why when you see this, right, you see the situation, you got to test it. You actually did your job. You actually played small ball to go for the run. But instead, you chickened out. You pussed out. That's exactly what the Red Sox did. Oh, why? Why did the Red Sox puss out, you might ask? Here, listen to Alex Cora explain why they pussed out last night.
On that play, there was Eaton at third.
That's an impact arm in center field. We prepare before the series, and we decide who we're going to challenge and not. So we didn't challenge him.
Is that Eaton's call to stop, or is Hudson telling him?
We prepare before the series, and that's an impact arm, and we decided not to challenge him.
You prepare before the series. It's an impact arm. First of all, stupid. The hell's an impact arm? What? He's an impact player. He's got a strong arm. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got a howitzer for an arm. Say that. Corey, you're a baseball guy. You know what that is. You know, we all know what a howitzer for an arm is. A cannon for an arm is. Don't be one of those nerds who calls it impact arm. Ridiculous. Secondly, you prepared before the series? What do you mean you prepared before the series? Because to me, it almost sounded like everything was predetermined. Oh my God. It was predetermined. So anytime you had a runner on third and the ball was hit to Colton Cowser, you knew straight up, it doesn't matter if you have Nick Eaton, David Hamilton, Jacoby Ellsbury, give me another guy who's fast. Ichiro on third base, if they were all playing and in their prime, you're telling me you're still not sending in just because this guy's got a strong effing arm? Oh my God. Like, what are we even doing here? Because that is the most absurd thing. You know what? Actually, I can't even say that because there's so many absurd things when it comes to baseball. But you're saying that basically your staff, the analytics nerds upstairs, came down with a 3-ring binder and said, hey, Cora, just want to let you know that if you have a sac fly opportunity, we don't care if it's even Nick Eaton, who we know is a fast guy. That if there's a sac fly opportunity and the ball is hit anywhere between shallow infield or shallow outfield all the way to about 270, 280, you know, anywhere in that type of range, just want to let you know, you shouldn't send the guy. Don't send the guy. What? What are you talking about? These moves right here aren't predetermined. Sending Nick Eaton on a 265-foot fly ball to left center field is not a move that you determine before the series. That is a move you determine in the moment. And not for nothing, even if that wasn't the case, the third base coach is absolutely in the wrong. He should know straight up how fast Nick Eaton is. He should know that this is an opportunity we're not going to have because there's one out right now. So a fly ball to middle outfield and deeper, you're tagging regardless. There's a reason why Nick Eaton's on the bag. That's what drives me up a freaking wall when it comes to these nerds. These moments are made in split decision, not based on a computer, not based on numbers, not based on percentiles. I don't care if it's Vladimir Guerrero, who in my day had the strongest arm I've ever seen. The man could be on the far end of right field and make a beeline throw all the way to third base without it bouncing once. I don't care if it's Vladdy Guerrero. It's the bottom of the 11th. You're down 1. This is your opportunity. I don't care that Alex Bregman is up to bat. For all the nerds out there who want to tell me on Twitter and everything that, oh, well, Alex Bregman was up to bat. You don't send a guy with your best hitter coming up. No, you do. Because now there's 2 outs and Bregman has to get a hit. Sure, he's got a 290, 300 batting average. That's still 7 out of 10 times he's getting out. And sure enough, it was one of those 7 out of 10. I don't understand. And this is why I have such a hard time dealing with all these nerds, all these numbers, making the decisions. Yes, do numbers help? Of course. Are we taking it way too far? 1,000%. But in the case of this, numbers, of course, help. You know, you got the batting averages, you got the runners in scoring position, you know how the team's kind of playing today, you know how they're kind of feeling. When you have the opportunity, you go. Because, again, numbers don't take into account human error, human nerves. And clearly, Colton Cowser was nervous because he clearly knew how fast Nick Eaton was, hence the ball sailing 15 rows into the friggin' bleachers. I mean, for all of that is holy, guys. Can you open up? Can you figure out why basing everything on statistics, on analytics, is ruining sports? It's not helping. It's hurting. And this was a prime example last night. Prime. I mean, it's wildly awful. You know, and because of that, and because of stupid. Now, again, could we have still gone on to lose the game? Absolutely. But the fact that you're 0-13 with runners in scoring position, and here's an opportunity to get an out, but also score a run, you freaking take it. You played the game to do exactly that. And you chickened out. You pussed out. Here's an idea. Grow a pair. And play the game the right way. That just, it bothers me because now we're in a predicament where everything is going down week to week. I made the funny error pulling up the week prior, and it was actually higher than now, or higher than last week, and now it's lower. Making the playoffs, 71.1%. Clinching the wild card, 68.8%. And then everything else is sub 3, except for making the World Series, which is at a 6.6%. Just showing you that there is still a possibility with this team to make a stupid run. Somehow, some way, you can still make a run in baseball. Which is why it's just, I get so agitated when I see stupidity. And especially where I know the stupidity comes from. Analytics. But something like that just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. These guys have been playing baseball their entire lives. These coaches have been coaching baseball for a very long time. And you're telling me you're making bonehead mistakes that you make in the minor leagues, not in Major League Baseball? This is the reason why we keep calling the Boston Red Sox a 4A team. They're not a Major League Baseball team. They're a 4A team because they're trying to get these kids to learn on the fly, almost as if they haven't played baseball before. It's wildly infuriating. And yes, do the Does it help that, the schedule is somewhat light? Of course. This is why I had everything prepared before I watched last night's game. I was like prepared to talk about, okay, what's going on with the team. We're in a pivotal stretch right now. We got one of the easiest schedules that finish out the year, but no. The Red Sox had to go and piss all over that with their decisions last night. But I am going to say this. Yes, this is a pivotal stretch. We got the Yankees coming up, who are kind of on a heater right now. We go to Baltimore, back-to-back 4-game series, and then we're home where we really play well at against the Pirates. And of course, when I say really play well, I'm taking out of the fact of what just happened. And what just happened in these last 4 games have been just unbelievable, to say the least, because I'm going to pull up the schedule, but I want you to look at the Marlins series starting back on Saturday, the 16th. We won the game. We won the game 7-5. We had a 7-2 lead in that game. And then we bring out a guy who is not only one of the worst pitchers in the league, but he is so bad that the statistic out there shows that he is out of like 180 something relievers pitching 14 innings. I think that's the stat. He is like 178th, 177th. He is effing atrocious. That's what I'm worried about. And now, luckily, thank God, he's off the roster. We just called up Richard Fitz. But he is awful. And he ruined Aroldis Chapman for Sunday's game, where he could have played on Sunday, but even though we had the lead late in the game, that would have been 3 straight days for Chapman, which then led to us putting in guys who suck, gave up runs, and we blew it. Then on Monday, we blew it against Baltimore, losing 6-3. And then, of course, last night's debacle. Now we got a 4-game series in New York coming up. And recent events over the last couple of years, the Yankees have been kind of good to us. We have somehow, some way figured out that the Yankees, we play well against the Yankees. Now, do I believe that we're going to sweep them? I see some comments asking, are we going to sweep the Yankees? I don't think we're going to sweep the Yankees. I don't. The first thing that we got to do is figure out our bullpen. Because our bullpen, before last night's game, our bullpen had an earned run average of 12.9. 12.9 earned run average in 3 games. Then if you include last night's game, it helped out because our bullpen pitched a lot of scoreless innings. But adding the fact that the bullpen pitched 7 innings and only allowed 1 earned run, the ERA dropped to 7.36, which is still astronomically high. 7.36 in the last 4 games. Thank God they also have an off day just to travel to New York, because that 7.36, these guys really got to get their act together. Outside of Aroldis Chapman, who, again, as a person, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think the guy's a creep, a weirdo, and again, I don't know him personally. I'm not going to, speculate on that. I'm just talking about all the situations that this guy has dealt with since being in the major leagues and being in Cincinnati. But he's been lights out. Absolutely lights out for the Red Sox. Which hey, come into the postseason, great. Coming into these key spots, we got to figure it out because he's got a 37-year-old arm and he really needs to stay healthy, but we also have to play well enough to make the damn playoffs because we're losing ground in the American League East. We're now in third, a game back behind the Yankees and 6 games behind the Blue Jays. Clearly, as you can see, the Yankees are on a 4-game win streak and have gone 7-3 in their last 10. The Blue Jays are still 6-4 and just won last night. I think as of today, they did end up losing. So there is they played this afternoon. So these scores will probably need to be adjusted just slightly. But still, that's as of last night's ending. And then in the AL wildcard, you're looking at it. The Yankees now have the number 1 wildcard spot by a game, whereas us and the Mariners are dead even. I think the Mariners also lost as well, so we just gained a half a game on them. But again, the Mariners have lost 4 in a row. We've lost 3 in a row. The Royals are making a lot of ground, winning 5 straight, going 8-2. I mean, just because the statistics as of today say that we're a 71% chance to make the playoffs and a 68.8 or 69% chance to clinch a wild card spot, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Again, this is the thing about stats and analytics that I swear just people refuse to understand. Is that because it says, oh, yeah, we got a 70% chance. Oh, let's pack it in, guys. We're good. We don't need to make any big moves. We don't need to go out and do X, Y, and Z. No, we're fine. We're chilling. The fact that people forget is they still have to play the games. Because, again, looking at the statistics, the Orioles are 14 and a half games back of the Blue Jays. They suck. All right? The Orioles suck. And you just got swept by them. I had somebody last night try to come at me and be like, oh, you mean the 2023 AL East champs, the 24, wild card? It's like, all right, every blind squirrel finds a nut at some point. But the Orioles are a perennial loser organization. And yet you got swept by them. So what does that say about you, the Red Sox? I mean, it's crazy. So even though our schedule is favorable for the final month and a half of the season, you still have to go out and play the games. You still got to do this because I don't want to be the team that is going to finish without a playoff berth for the 5th year in a row. Right? 22, 3, 4. All right, 4th year in a row. Yeah, we made it in 21. We're the Boston Red Sox. Going 2 years without a playoff berth is way too long, especially since the wild card now accepts 3 teams. Hell, I remember when the wild card was only 1 team. Now everybody gets in. As long as you're not 81 and 81, you got a pretty damn good shot. And then, of course, in the playoffs, anything can happen. The Texas Rangers in 23 were a perfect example of that. So it's one of those things where they got to figure it out, man. They got to get their acts together because we're not going to be the Boston Red Sox for much longer if we keep pulling crap like that. If we keep treating our club, a club that should be in the top tier in terms of spending, like the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, and the Phillies, for that matter. We should be up there. But John Henry just refuses to go that far. And he keeps hiring guys to try to mimic what the Tampa Bay Rays are doing. And for a long, long time, the Rays, and still today, play the game like a 4A club. Yeah, they're slightly better than AAA, but they really aren't as far along as they should be. We got a lot of young guys. We got a lot of young talent. There is an opportunity here because unlike what the computers are going to tell you, getting playoff experience, getting there is so valuable to guys like Roman Anthony, to guys like Garrett Crochet, to guys who actually, want to win, who play this game to win. And Bregman, God, I love Bregman. I want him to re-sign here so freaking badly. If they don't re-sign him, it's going to piss me off, man, because they can afford it. Let's be honest. They can absolutely afford to re-sign because, hell, give him, how long does he want to play for? Tell him that his contract will last, and then once he wants to stop managing the team, here he is. He's got a free job, just like Jason Varitek. He's staying with the club because he's so valuable to the young guys, to Roman Anthony, Marcelo Maya, and hopefully Christian Campbell will develop and come back next year and be that much further along. I hope, Craig Breslow and those driveline scumbags didn't affect Christian Campbell's development, and be a part of their, quote, proof of concept, which is so stupid to begin with. But tell me your thoughts. Were you just as upset about last night as I was? Let me know in the comments down below.